Several states across the country are ditching mask mandates as COVID cases drop. So Laura Podesta joins me now from New York to talk a little bit more about this. Laura, good morning.
Good morning, Anne-Marie. And here in New York, we're expecting Governor Hochul today to announce that indoor masking is no longer necessary. Some health officials, though, are not happy with states figuratively and literally removing layers of protection.
I don't think we're there right now.
CDC Director Dr. Rochelle Walensky says it's too soon to end mask mandates.
We still have hospitalization rates that are higher than they ever were during the peak of our Delta wave. And similarly for deaths, still at 2,300 a day.
This week, several states announced school mask requirements will be ending. With just 38% of 5 to 17-year-olds fully vaccinated, Walensky says that could leave children at risk.
About 96% of our children are in schools, and that the masking has allowed them to be in school safely. That and getting our children vaccinated.
New York may let its indoor mandate expire tomorrow, but keep the school mandate until vaccination numbers improve.
It makes great sense to wear a mask if you're around people that you don't know whether or not they're vaccinated.
At the U.S.-Canada border, truckers protesting Canada's vaccine restrictions continued for a 12th day.
We're not asking you to stop what you're doing. Just stop forcing it on us.
Yesterday, they closed part of a bridge that acts as a key trade line for Detroit's auto industry, sparking fears the slowdown could lead to temporary layoffs north of the border.
If you're one of these protesters and you expect those hundreds or thousands of people who can't go to work that day to show up and support you, you're dreaming.
About $300 million of goods pass over the Ambassador Bridge every day.
More than 80% of Canadians 5 and older are fully vaccinated, and polls there show broad support for measures that slow the spread of the virus. But Anne-Marie, some local officials have announced they will loosen restrictions in Canada in response to the protesters.
Well, Laura, let's talk about this protest. The restrictions and the mandates on Canadian truckers are very similar, or almost the same for American truckers. Is there a concern that we will see a similar type of protest happening on this side of the border?
Yes, there are already plans for a similar kind of protest among truckers here in the U.S. It's certainly gaining momentum, according to a recent report by the New York Times, which says there are also copycat convoys in New Zealand and Australia. Now, these anti-vaccine activists are doing most of their planning online via Facebook and messaging apps, Anne-Marie.
And back here in New York, you know, the governor can talk about lifting mask mandates and so on and so forth, but New York City has some different restrictions and different requirements when it comes to restaurants. In order to eat inside, you need to be vaccinated. Do we know if there will be any movement on that?
Regarding, do we have to show proof of vaccination when we enter restaurants? That is really TBD, to be determined. The vaccine mandate here in the city is part of a program that's called Key to New York City, and that program and the vaccine mandate for restaurants is evaluated regularly, about every 5 days. So we'll be listening closely when Governor Hochul makes her announcements today and see if there's any movement from Mayor Adams and City Hall here in New York City. But there are reports, Anne-Marie, about other big cities like Chicago and Boston. They will soon no longer require people who are dining in restaurants to show proof of vaccination.
Interesting. Laura Podesta, thank you very much.